So what do you feel about, how do you feel about, I need to ask more questions so people could comment and I can engage more in the comment sections. So my question is, what do you feel about the fact that my dad said that I was never a Jehovah's Witness? Like, how does that resonate with you? Is that believable? Because I sometimes believe it, and then I answer like I said in my first video, I answered in a fashion that supports my dad's statement, even though cognitively I know that I was a Jehovah's Witness. Even though I was never baptized, I still was a JW, you know. So that's kind of what I'm wrestling over. So maybe you could comment, tell me what that means. Tell me what it means to you. Tell me what it should mean to me. Because like I said, it's to me it just means, you know, it doesn't mean anything. It means something because he said it, but it doesn't really mean anything because I was, you know. He's just saying that. I feel like he's just saying that to shame me. It's a shaming tactic. Just so I could feel like I was never part of the organization. I guess that's supposed to make me feel bad, but it doesn't. It just, if anything, it confuses me and causes me to ask you guys, what does that mean? But at the end of the day, I can draw my own conclusion. I'll be just fine, you know. I just wanted to engage with that statement. Are you a JW if you never get baptized, but you get dragged into it all your first 18 years of your life? Were you ever a JW? That's the question. And then my next, my main topic that I wanted to talk about is how they sabotage any endeavor. Especially me, I'm going to focus right now on athletic endeavors. You know, I remember if it's on the TV, if we're watching sports on the TV, there was nothing wrong with that. But if we actually started to engage in leagues, tournaments, extracurricular activities, I think at once upon a time that was like a curse word. I think extracurricular activities was like a curse word for the JW. Is it still a curse word? Because I remember if you said something about extracurricular activities, oh, you were in trouble. Needless to say, my parents are a little bit more lenient than the hardcore ones. They would interpret things foolishly sometimes, but they never really put down the hammer, you know. Well, maybe they did with my older siblings, but by the time they got to me, the hammer was already dull. It was a dull hammer, so I didn't get I didn't get the whacks. I didn't get the beating that my older siblings got, which is why they're still kind of lost, you know. But I also have a strong mind. Like, I have a strong personality. I was very I'm not easily stirred, or not stirred. I'm not easily manipulated and tricked. Not very easily. I mean, it happens, but it's not that easy. And I do have my own way of carrying myself and my own thoughts. I always run all my thoughts. Everything that I'm told gets ran through a filter. I don't think everybody has that, you know. But yeah. So sports, yeah. I remember. I wasn't very big for a long time, and I was, you know, I kind of thought it was a good idea, I wanted to be part of. I wanted to be competitive. I wanted to be competitive. And I remember wanting to play football. Deep down inside, I wanted to play football. But I always say these days, my dad was not raising any football players. My dad was raising, he was raising servants of Jehovah. He wasn't raising no football players. So I remember trying to thinking about playing football, then realizing obviously that I was just too small. It was just too small. And granted, we didn't have a lot of money, and there was a lot of us, and we didn't have, everything came kind of scarcely, including food. But and I'm okay with that. I'll accept that, and I'll accept anything. I'll accept everything because it's in the past, and you gotta forgive and move on, right? And do make better decisions. But I remember football. I remember confirming that it wasn't just the fact that we weren't well fed that I couldn't play football. It was a lot of it seemed like it was sabotage. Because when I got into my high school days, I was a lot bigger. I was a bigger kid. I wasn't a small kid in high school. I wasn't considered a small kid. I was a decent size, not the biggest kid, definitely not small. And I remember my dad saw extracurricular activities like basketball, football as threats to the organization, and he started vocalizing that. Vocalizing it so much that I considered quitting one year. But I somehow managed to kind of sidestep his determination. I sidestepped it and continued to play high school sports. Not football though, because like I said, I think football was a little bit more easier to manage because the kids, when you want your kid to play football, you're gonna stuff them like a pig, stuff them like a turkey. You want your kids to be big and strong bones. You want your kid to be, and you kind of have to be more involved when your kids play football. You're gonna have to be involved. You can't. Basketball is a little bit easier because you don't need equipment. It's a cheaper sport. It's a sport that's easier to play when you have less money. Football is a little bit more difficult. You kind of need your parents more to play football. So yeah, that happened, and I remember there was like little moments of sabotage. I remember when I was playing. I was on the varsity team my senior year. I was on the varsity team for basketball, and my dad prioritized an oil change first thing in the morning when I had basketball practice, and that got me in trouble. I got in trouble for that to the point where I was benched the next game. And I feel like somewhere in my dad's mind, he knew that if he kind of passive aggressively got me to miss practice or be late for practice because it was my responsibility to change the oil in the car, get the car's oil change on a Saturday morning, then maybe that will cause a situation where, and it caused a situation where the coaches were started looking at me differently, seeing that I didn't care, because I'm over here thinking the oil change is important, but they're thinking, what is wrong with this kid? Why can't his father just go do the oil change? Why is he prioritizing this over basketball? What is wrong with him? That was the impression that I got overall. And there was other things. I remember we were missing meetings because me and my older brother were missing meetings because we had sports. We had basketball and football. Well, he played football. I didn't play football. We were missing meetings. He only played football 1 year though. And I remember my dad was talking to me. He was like, "I don't care. You guys need to stop. All these sports need to get abandoned. You need to abandon all these sports." And I looked at him like, "Whoa, this guy's talking nuts. Like, is he serious?" You know. But anyway, it was like my overall argument is how the sometimes subtle, sometimes not subtle, sabotaging of sports endeavors that J-dubs have to go through, you know, and it's handicapping because, like I said, you need your parents. A lot of these guys who are professional athletes, I don't think any of them did it by themselves, you know. I think they all had the support of their parents, and that's something that I resent till this day. You know, I would always resent that, but you don't want that to drive you crazy, and you want to do better. When my kids play sports, I'm there. I'm at every game. I'm at all the events. I'm at all the tournaments. And I'm there because of what happened to me. I practice with my daughter who plays basketball. You know, I practice. You know, she's pretty good. Hopefully she gets some recognition. If she doesn't get any recognition, hopefully she can, at the very least, she could be an alumni coach. You know, those people don't think about that. You know, when your kids excel in sports, especially at the high school level, even at the college level, they get a guaranteed job. They could take it or leave it, but the school is always going to invite them back to train and coach or mentor the kids coming after them. You know, people don't think about that. Yeah, that's a cheat code right there. And then that gets you into other that helps you network with other people, because you have a volume of people coming through and working with you. You end up meeting people over and over. You meet new parents. You're constantly meeting people, so you have a network. And if you want, you know, maybe somebody will hire you to do something else after you know, because one of the kids have a parent that wants to hire you to do something else, and you find something else to do. It's networking. But it is a cheat code to be able to go back to your school and coach. But you only get that cheat code if you are good. If they invite you back, that means you were good. Alright, well, that's my little rant for the day. You guys take care.